Rich people being assholes at international resorts has become maybe the most popular genre of the 2020s. If you haven't gotten your fill from the White Lotus, here is Infinity Pool, a much bloodier and more brutal vacation spot from director Brandon Cronenberg. That last name sounds familiar to you. It's because he's the son of David, the classic filmmaker behind body horror flicks like Crash and The Fly, and more esoteric offerings like Naked Lunch. Brandon is not as complex as Dad, but his work over 3 films, the last one being Possessor a couple years ago, continues a streak of psychological studies that compel and disgust in equal measure. He taps Alexander Skaarsgard to play struggling writer James Foster, who, along with his rich girlfriend, played by Cleopatra Coleman, is vacationing on a fictional island. They become fast friends with 2 other vacationing tourists, an actress named Gabby, played by Mia Goth, and her husband, who vow to show them around the island. It's clear that James and Gabby have a certain attraction to one another, both being creatives and both being hangers-on of wealthy counterparts. While sightseeing, the 2 sneak away, and Cronenberg lays the gauntlet down early for how graphic and how far he's willing to go with his sex scenes. The film takes a turn when a car accident occurs. It's enough to send James reeling, and that's before he's even brought in for questioning by the police. He faces heavy charges, but there is an interesting workaround for people of his ilk. Authorities offer him the chance in the Infinity Pool, which essentially allows tourists like him to create a clone that will take his punishment for him. Of course, he agrees. And what really shocks is the freedom that Cronenberg finds in that. Okay, let's say you do something wrong, only to see another you take the blame. Repeat that a couple times, and what do you feel? Invincibility, superiority, the intoxication of doing whatever you want? The story then takes itself a step further. Cronenberg introduces James to a whole host of other very rich people who can afford the same cloning procedure. These are people used to entitlement already, but now crime and punishment is off the table. Now, Cronenberg is a director who really enjoys creating mood through flickering lights and hallucinatory images. He can go overboard with this sometimes, but for the most part, it's effective at foreshadowing whatever insanity he has in store. And really, he has some humdingers here, like a penis emerging from a nipple. At one point, Skarsgård breastfeeds. I mean, mind you, this is an R-rated version. It has been cut down from NC-17. Also insane is his sex and violence. As these people get bolder, so too does their crimes and the punishment that their doppelgangers face. It's a brutal smorgasbord of heads pounded in, execution-style killings, and I mean, there are stabbings and gushing blood here that you're going to remember for the rest of the year. I mean, it really gets down to the sick and depraved. Cronenberg finds the animalistic urge in people without rule. And he couldn't have 2 more game stars than Skaarsgård and Goth. The first is so good at creating men torn apart by madness and need, and Goth, who we know from Pearl and X last year, she should be getting an Oscar nomination for at least one of those. She's becoming a poster girl for seduction and unsavory menace at this point. Cronenberg has not made an easy movie to sit through, but damn if it's not bold or a valid statement on entitlement run amok. This is probably my favorite of his films so far, and it's more than proof that he's not going to be in his dad's shadow for long. That's why I'm going B+, guys. But I would love to hear from you. Let me know down below there. Also, if you could, like the video, please subscribe, and I hope to see you back next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.